Good evening, everybody. Good evening and welcome. I am Sandy Best Life Jones, and this is Girl Talk After Dark, where the pursuit of happiness, love, and life are always the topic of discussion. Now, y'all know how I do. As soon as I go live, I go in and share the live. Because when I don't, somebody sends me a text in the middle of the live to ask me how to find the live. So if you see the live, please share the live for me. If you're watching on Facebook, like the live and share the live. If you are watching on YouTube, like the video, subscribe to my channel, and share the video. Subscribing to my channel is a free way to support the channel and to make sure that you don't miss when I upload new content. All right, so today is the last day of National Stroke Month. And you know that I have been talking about the signs, symptoms, and prevention of stroke all month long. And today will be no different. So I want to make sure that you know when it comes to stroke, there are only 4 letters that you need to memorize. F-A-S-T. Let's go through it really fast. F is for face. Is the person's face drooping? Is their smile lopsided? Does something look a little bit off about their face? That could be a sign of a stroke. A is for arm. Is their arm weak? Is it numb? Are they unable to use it? Is it paralyzed? Is it just kind of slumped by their side? That could be another sign of a stroke. S is for speech. Are they having a hard time talking, or can they not speak at all? If they can speak, does it sound like gibberish, or you just don't understand what they're saying? That could be a sign of a stroke. And of course, T is for time. Time is of the essence when it comes to stroke. There are clot busting medicines that only have a short window of time to be the most effective. So if you think someone in your presence is having a stroke, you want to call 911 right away. All right. My guests tonight are longtime friends of mine. They are one of my favorite couples. And the reason why they're one of my favorite couples is because what you see is what you get. They don't switch up on you. And yes, I know the flyer says Dwayne and Nazmye Johnson, but that ain't what we call them. So tonight, we're going to call them what we always call them, Papa J and Mama Nay. They are in the green room. I can see them right now. I'm going to bring them out in just a moment. I want to make sure that everybody has taken the time to share the live. We want to pack this chat for Papa J tonight. We want to pack it out. This is the last day of National Stroke Month. And Papa J has a testimony that the world needs to hear. The fact that he is even here to give the testimony is a miracle. It's a 100% God thing. That I am clear on. By all intents and purposes, he should not be here. But because the God we serve saw fit to bring him through, to show himself mighty in Papa J's life, he is here tonight and he is ready to share his story. So we're going to bring them out. But first, before I do, I need to see some hearts in the chat. I need to know that people are watching right now. Family, friends, church family, whoever you are. Tell me who you are in the chat. I want to see some hearts in the chat. I want to make sure that Mama Nay and Papa J feel welcome. So I just want to make sure that, you guys are watching. I actually can see that a few of you are watching. There you go. Stacy Shavies, welcome. Welcome. Thank you for being here tonight. All right. I just need to see a few more comments and then we'll bring them out. In our pre-interview, I asked, the regular questions that I asked, and then we kind of veered off into some other questions, and I was blown away because You know, Papa J said he didn't have any signs or any symptoms. He had no indication that this stroke was going to happen. And yet it did. And I say this all the time. I said this in a television interview that I did about a month ago, that stroke does not discriminate. And there's a reason why it's called a silent killer, because you may have something brewing in your body, a blood clot, an artery that's blocked either in your brain or near your heart. You just don't know. And you won't know until the stroke happens. And that was one of the things that really fascinated me about Papa J's story. And I'm gonna let him come out and tell it himself. But you just never know. That's why it's so important to know the signs and know the symptoms, and more importantly, to know how to prevent stroke. And we're going to talk about that too tonight. So we're going to bring them out. Papa J and Mama Nay are here. There they are.
Oh.
Hello.
Hello.
I hear you loud and clear.
That's what I want to make sure.
Yes. Thank you both for being here tonight. Y'all know I love you. You already know. I ain't got to tell you that. You already know. And I'm so grateful to have you here tonight, Papa J. I know that the odds were against you, but the medical community, they didn't know who you knew and who you know and who was in charge. So before we get into the story, though, if you watched my show before, you know anytime I have a married couple on my show, the first thing I ask is, can we hear about the love story? So I want to hear, I don't care who shared, y'all get to pick. But I want to hear the love story. How did you meet? Where were you? What was going on? You've been married for over 30 years now.
Oh, yes.
Yes. Tell us the love story.
We went in junior high.
Junior high.
I used to see her going down the hallway. And I didn't know how to talk to people, girls like that had low self-esteem. Mm-hmm. But I saw her and I didn't know how to talk to her, get her interest. So I used to bug her, pull her hair, do something, knock her books down and stuff.
True story.
However, in that graduation year, I wrote in her yearbook. You remember what I wrote?
Yeah.
Hey, you're going to be
What do you write? What do you write, Nay?
You're going to be my wife.
In your graduation yearbook? Wow. So Papa J, you knew she was the one.
I knew she was the one.
Wow.
At least I was hoping.
Right.
And how many years exactly has it been?
38. It'll be 39.
38, almost 39 years.
Yeah.
Wow.
But we're still together.
Right? Y'all are the statistic that it's like the gift that keeps on giving.
Listen, it's something. It's something.
Yeah. You don't see marriages last like that anymore. It's not the norm.
And I told, I didn't tell him till later that he knew that my mother had passed when I was 12. So my mother passed in the 7th grade. And that's the same year I met him.
Right.
So I said, the Lord took my heart, but he gave me a gift because I met him the same year
sweet.
That.
Ain't she sweet?
No.
Oh, I love that. I love that. What do you think is the formula that you used to be together this long after meeting in 7th grade? What do you think has kept you together this long, especially after such a unforeseen, horrendous Yeah. What is it? What's keeping you together? What's kept you together?
I would say, and I know you've heard this before.
Yeah.
Communication and understanding. Because everybody comes from 2 different places with their own luggage and their own stuff. Like we didn't have no schools to go to. We were teenagers getting married.
Little kids.
Yeah.
And so
what did your families think when you wanted to get married so young?
Well, honestly, we had a baby, so
Mm,
we were happy.
oh, they're like, hey, yay, he good, gone, yeah, gone.
He asked me to marry him. Then he went to the military, and we left. And we left and went off to all these places. We went to South Dakota. We went to England. We went to Arizona. We went a lot of places. And then even after us staying, sometimes he had to go remote.
Right.
So it was a lot. But the one thing he always said is that we kept our family out of our business. We had to rely on each other.
Because in England, it was $5 a minute to call on a call. So like, we gonna call, we gonna work it out right here together. We'll figure it out.
$5 a minute.
We're gonna figure that out right now.
And that was in 88, 87,
so we literally
88.
Have to trust God and work it out.
You're gonna work it out.
Yeah, that $5 a minute will keep your family out your business.
It will keep it.
That's for sure.
And you didn't get a lot of people in your stuff, and I'm running to my family or him going. It was just, okay, it's me and you. Now, what we gonna do? We got these children. You ain't going nowhere, and I ain't going nowhere. But definitely communication.
You took that leave and cleave seriously.
It was so serious because there was nowhere else to go.
I love that. So you get married. He goes into the military after you get married. And then you're off traveling around the world and around the country. Now, I heard you say Arizona. Was it Fort Huachuca?
He went to Fort Huachuca later. It was
I was in the Air Force, so
it was Peoria. Where was it?
Luke
Air Force Base.
Luke Air Force Base. Okay. I lived in Fort Huachuca. That's why I was thinking Fort Huachuca.
Yeah. He because first when he went in the Air Force. And, they moved us around so much and moved him around so much that when we got here, that he took the early out so we could kids going to school out. They're here this year round. This one isn't, and it was missing.
Why make friends? We're gonna be leaving.
Yeah, it was hard. So we were glad when we had some stability when we got in Washington. Had a wonderful church home, and then neighborhoods that your kids can grow up in, and things like that. And so we were Air Force until God told him, okay, you can go back and get your retirement. He put that in his heart. It's your retirement. So he went back Army, National Guard, Army Guard.
Okay.
Yeah. And that's
now okay. And now
ago, he went back to basic training.
At 35?
45.
45 years old.
He went back to basic training and test school and all of that. Can you imagine?
No.
That's why so many people call him Superman, because you going back to all of that. All of that. The intimidation, and it's a mind game, but the exercise and the stuff. I said, oh yeah, he the one. Because everybody can't do it at 45. You're like,
wow. That's commendable though, actually. Because you're right. A lot of people wouldn't have been able to do it. Wow. So you are a veteran. Thank you for your service.
Thank you for your support. Thank you for doing this.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I was trying to
strokes.
Yeah.
Medical.
Yeah.
And
most people, not only that, Papa J, but most people who have the kind of stroke that you have, they don't live to tell what happened. And so I was praying about who I could bring on the show to close out National Stroke Month. And I woke up out of my sleep. I think I told you this in the preview. I woke up out of my sleep and I said, Papa J. I'm like, he's alive to tell the story. So I appreciate you being here. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Now, I just want
to know. They called it not a widowmaker, but it was the one that people don't use to survive. They just use to go.
Yeah.
Oh God.
Tell me what your daily routine was before you had the stroke? What was your life like?
Before the stroke,
Mm-hmm.
I would
Mm-hmm.
exercise, go to work.
Mm-hmm. So you exercised, you took care of yourself. Did you eat
Yeah.
fairly healthy?
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
He did a marathon,
I remember that.
all this stuff. He was in
Mm-hmm.
excellent shape.
Mm-hmm.
No high blood pressure, no cholesterol, no nothing, no diabetes.
No untreated high blood pressure.
No,
No high cholesterol.
No.
No diabetes.
no.
No.
No health issues that you knew of.
Mm-mm.
I was just lifing.
Just life it.
Yes.
He
Wow.
worked hard, but
Yeah.
you know,
Did you do a lot of traveling with the guard?
Not till I went to the recruiting side.
yeah.
And it was kind of on my own.
Mm-hmm.
But you
Okay.
know what? But he might not remember that. But he did used to go because his station was Yakima.
Mm-hmm.
So you know you had to go
Back and
a
forth.
week in a month. So he
Mm-hmm.
was. There was some of them snowy days, and he'd have to
Yeah.
go out there praying.
Yeah.
So as far as that, that's
Mhm.
where the most as far as before then. But then when he got with the guard, you know, training,
Mm-hmm.
and that's kind of led into God showing us what he was going to do in the first place because of what he was where he was supposed to have been when he had the stroke. But I'll let you go and we'll come to that.
Okay, we hold on to that thought because I want to know where was he supposed to have been. Now I want to make sure that I mentioned you have 3 children.
Yes,
You have 2 daughters-in-law and 1 son-in-law.
I do.
And 11 grandchildren.
11.
11.
We have
How many? 8 grandchildren?
8. Yes.
Wow. So you have a huge family. I look forward to your Christmas pictures every year on Facebook. I do, because y'all be matching and everything.
Oh yes, we do. We do.
I love it. I
know,
love it.
Sometimes I just have to sit and look, and I look at him. I said, "You'll see that all this, all of this," and that's my dad would say too. He said, "From one daughter, I got all of this."
Yes,
it's something to see. You know, you think you had 3 children, and you just thinking, okay, but then you have 6 children, and then they have children, and it just grows. It just grows.
I'm talking about legacy.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. So life was typical. You're very, very active in your church, pillars of your community, actually, and your church. Been there forever. And as far as you knew, there was no health issues for either one of you. Okay. So tell us on that day, Papa J, if you can remember, when did you know something was wrong?
Give you a right before the week before we were in our church revival.
Oh, that's right.
And our nephew Mike was his mother passed, Sandy, and so Dwayne went, and I stayed there. We were packing up her house, and I could see, you know, I was watching it, and Renee Winston, and she was going forth, and she was getting ready to stop. She had already prophesied to a few people, and she was getting ready to sit down, and she said, "Elder Johnson," she said, "You think that miracle that he just did, the one he just did for you, was something what he's about to do in your life is going to blow your mind." She says he's going to raise you up. And that right then she said, "And I hear the devil speaking in your ear gate. So right now we're binding him up, and I'm rebuking the devil, and I'm pleading the blood and things like that. It's going to raise you up." So you don't know what's going to happen, but you already say, "Okay, let me." And so, and that was that Friday. And so come that Sunday, the next, not that, but that next Sunday, he was going to speak for Mike at his church. So he wouldn't have to speak. Okay, not that. I'll let him go. So you got up.
I got up that morning and speak.
Okay.
Trying to find them on Zoom. So I'm sitting in the thing listening to their Sunday school, and I notice I have this headache. Well, I don't get headaches. And this particular headache, it's pinpointed. I know it's right here.
Okay.
I feel it in one spot. Sometimes I don't get headaches like that.
Right.
Over. This was pinpointed in one spot. And I couldn't do nothing.
Was your vision affected at all in that moment?
No.
No. Okay. So you had a headache on one side of your head.
Yes.
And on a scale from 1 to 10, what was the pain level?
11.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah. And he, so he was already had been up early, and he went downstairs to where the office is downstairs. And, he was something happened. Can you hear me still?
Yeah, I hear you.
And so he said he went to go and gonna drink some coffee. You're thinking, okay, let me drink some coffee, because he was still gonna preach, even though his head was hurting. And what happened, babe?
We tried to make it through.
Right.
So I got ready. I tried to get a cup of coffee, and I could barely lift my hand. So something came to mind, because I had first aid classes when I was in youth academy. So I started looking around. I caught my reflection, and my face was kind of off. And I'm like, oh my goodness, I'm about to have a stroke. They're still doing church. They don't know. So I put it down, and I'm standing up. So I start trying to walk and find somewhere soft. I'm throwing pillows on the floor, because I'm like, pass out.
So you were aware that you were having
a stroke. He's thinking.
Right.
Making a soft landing.
Whoa.
I figured if I fall and hit this hard, because I was in the laundry room, hit this hard laundry floor, whatever it is, it's going to be worse.
Right. Right. So did you end up passing out?
Yes. I kind of got down low. I think I tell everybody, I went into Holy Ghost override. I'm on the floor, and I'm trying to kick the because I'm laid back, so I'm trying to kick the washing machine so she'd hear me making noise and come see us.
Right.
Because by that time I figure I'm having a stroke.
Yeah.
So I'm upstairs, and I got the laptop, and I'm chiming in, because he told me, no, watch it on live. You're gonna make me nervous. That's what he told me the night before. That I was gonna come down and sit with him. And so I'm getting on there, getting ready to log in on the Zoom, and I clearly go downstairs and be with your husband. Close the laptop, and I just went downstairs, and as soon as I opened the door, he's laying flat. And I'm looking around. Did you fall? And I'm looking, he's laying on the ground. His feet, one side of his foot was on a chair. So I'm looking like, and there was a light, and I said, was you trying to? And then he's just doing this. And so he wanted to try to get up, and I said, I can't believe this. And I'm looking at him, I said, he's having a stroke.
So you knew it too once you saw him.
And so he's doing this. And so I got down there, I started praying for him. And praying for him, dialing 911, and I could not believe I was telling the people. They said, what's your emergency? I said, my husband's having a stroke. And I just was like, and so, they got my information, and now I'm down there still praying for him. He is singing every hymn known to man. I mean, he's singing Blessed Assurance.
He started singing.
He's singing. And it was really something, because the type of stroke he had, that's the part that should be affected. You shouldn't be able to sing
or your speech.
All that kind of stuff. And so now I have to tell my daughter, who's at home, to come here. So then she comes in and she loses it, because she just wants to know, why is my daddy on the floor? And so I'm trying to calm her down. So they give me a mask, because it's COVID, and they were on their way.
Right.
So we got him there. My niece drove me. And I just knew that they were going to say, stress. It's a, what's the one called when it's a stress? It's not a real stroke, but oh my goodness, I can't think of the name of it. It's stroke-like symptoms, but you're just
like Bell's palsy?
Yeah, something like that. And I just said, okay. But when they let me come in the back, he's laying there and he's still singing and said, hey, babe, I'm okay. But I'm looking at his face.
Right.
And the lady come in, she says, he has a large blood clot on his brain, and we need to operate now. And I said, excuse me. They said, we need to
Right.
operate right now. I said, you're going to operate in his brain right now, is what you're telling me. And she said, yes, ma'am. I said, all of his children are in the waiting room. Can they please come see their father before you do that? Because you don't know what's going to happen.
Right.
So all of them come in. They let us, and this is during COVID, and they let them all come back 2 by 2. And now he's in there still being dad, and he's singing Todd Delaney. Trust in the Lord. Trust in the Lord with all your heart. Trust in the Lord with all your strength. Lean not your own understanding. He just keeps singing that song until he makes one of our songbirds, Dion. She's singing it and crying with them. And they just sing it, and then they're saying, we have to go now. And so he said, babe, I'll be back. He said, there will be glory after this.
Woo!
And I said, and I really can't tell you what I said, because when I got to the hall, the kids got me to the waiting room, because I don't remember too much more.
Now, I want to say this. I want to make sure that I say that this was October 18th, 2020.
2020.
So this was like months into the pandemic.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Months in. And so everybody was in the waiting room. I didn't know how long it was going to take. I didn't know what was going to happen. So then this nice lady came out. She said, you can come back here and sit in the inner room with one person. And so my youngest son, Davion, came and sat with me. And we're in there. And, everybody tries to talk really nice and positive. And the nurse is in there, she says, I could tell by your family, he's a great man. And, and I pray that everything will be all right. And me and my son it's in God's hands, and we're believing it's going to be all right. And she was so grateful to hear that we were believers, because you can't, and so then she started talking to us. And then they came out and they said, okay, we got most of it. Is what they said. But as you're going, it was so massive that some of it showered. So the blood clot showered off as they were getting it. And they said, but we're going to try to get that with medicine. They said.
Now, let me just back up just a little bit, Mama Nay, to when the paramedics got there to your house. What did they do when they got there?
When they got to the house, they had to pull him out. They started examining him, and I said, what I saw, what I believed it was a stroke. And they said, yes, ma'am. Doing all his vitals were fine. Vitals were fine.
Vitals were fine.
They just hurry up and got him there, because they were thinking too, maybe it's just a lot of stress or things like what they said, but he definitely has these stroke-like symptoms. Nobody believed it was that bad until they went back there and did the scan.
Right.
They seen how bad it was. So then after they got it, the doctor said that it's a miracle that he's alive. They said that that's the one that people usually don't live. That if he was asleep, that he probably just would have stayed asleep. Yeah. But it's the fact that he was already up, getting ready to preach. He was over.
Woo! Don't you do it. Don't you do it. We only 33 minutes in. Don't you do it, Nate.
He'll tear it up. He said they'll usually just stay asleep, but he was up getting ready to preach the word. And that's why he was woke. Okay.
So they did the surgery, but the clot, some of it had sprayed and was affecting other parts of the brain.
Right.
So when they brought him out of surgery, did they give him the TPA, the clot busting medicine?
They did. They gave him the TPA, I believe, in the ambulance. I believe they gave it in the ambulance.
Okay.
Right. Okay. Because when they got there, there was nothing else they could do but give him a COVID test and take him upstairs. That's all they had time to do, because they were urgent. It was urgent that they go in there and get it.
So for those of you that don't know, TPA is the strongest clot busting medicine you can give to someone who is having a stroke, but there is only a 4-hour time limit to which you need to administer the TPA to give the person the best chances of surviving. So normally what they do first is the TPA to try and break up the clot, and then they go in to do the surgery, just like they did with Papa J. So they got in there. They got.
Oh, I'm sorry. That's one thing that the lady did say. She said it was our timing. She said, you got down there, you saw him, you called 911. She said you were in the time. You were in the time.
Yeah.
Time is important.
Yeah,
because
that 4-hour window of time. Yeah.
Because he had been down there earlier. Now, I'm not exactly sure what that time was, but he said that he was down there praying. God, you send my wife down so she'll pray for me.
Right.
That's exactly what he did. Because I can't tell, you try to get people to understand what you're saying, and they say, heard something. I said, oh, yes, clearly. I heard God say, go be there. Go down there and be with your husband.
Now, he had previously asked you not to be down there with him.
Yep.
But you heard the voice of the Lord say, go downstairs.
And be with your husband. That's what I heard. Yes. Because I wasn't. I was going to stay upstairs on the Zoom. Yeah.
So yes. It's after the surgery. They tried to get as much of the clot as they could. It sprayed. It was affecting other parts of the brain. And normally after the stroke surgery, the doctors will tell you that the next 48 to 72 hours are critical.
5 days.
And I remember you saying, yes, I remember you saying, Nay, that the day, I think it was either the day of the surgery when he had come out of the surgery or the next day, he was not responding. You want
not
to talk
like
about
they wanted him to, right? So, and I did forget to mention the part that I called 911. I called my church, and then I typed on Facebook, pray now.
Yeah, I remember.
Yes, and so then the ironic thing was that while we're in the emergency room, we were taping our services, and we would tape the service like 3 days before. So while we're in the emergency room, he's preaching on Facebook because we taped it 3 days before, and he's preaching. Do you remember it? What was it? 29:11. He
was that Jeremiah?
Yeah.
Jeremiah 29:11. He knows and he cares.
Yeah, that was what he was preaching. He knows and he cares.
So he's on Facebook in a pre-recorded service preaching, but really he's in the hospital in critical condition, fighting for his life.
Fighting for his life. He so that day they let me come in, and I'm with them, and he's just, and I was expecting, I wasn't expecting, but I'm getting bombarded with so much stuff about what happened and what they couldn't get and what this. And then they said within five days is the time frame that the brain is going to it's going to heal, it's going to swell, it's going to do whatever. So, we're praying, okay, it's going to be okay. So then he's not responding to them as much as they would like. But he responds when I came in. Every time I come in, he said, hey, beautiful. And I said, hey, babe. Because I was the only person they would let me be there. One visit every 24 hours. So it was me. So I come early in the morning and I'd sit until they kick me out. But by day 3, it was starting to really swell. So he couldn't open his eyes. But he knew when I was in there. And as soon as I walked in, he said, hey, beautiful. Now, mind you, the doctors are calling me at home saying he's not responding. We're going to probably have to do the surgery. And I'm telling you, if that's what you think you have to do, I said, but let me come down there.
Yeah.
And so she said, well, I'll see you when you're down here. And so I went down there, and her name was Dr. Hammer. And she was telling me everything that was going on. And in the middle of that, there's another doctor, and I cannot think of his name, but I called him Dr. Gloomy Doomy because nothing positive. No, not Wong. Right. Nothing positive came out of his mouth. And so he came in there. He said, he needs to have this surgery, right? And I said, that's what they said. He said, understand the seriousness. Did they show you the CAT scan? And I said, no, sir. And so then he shows me, and it looks terrible. And he says, there's no room in here. If they do not do the surgery and on his head, he's gonna.
Now, when you say the surgery, what you're talking about is removing part of his skull.
Removing his skull, part of his, a very
to
large
give his brain somewhere to
room to
right, because his brain was swelling.
And
Right.
he said that
Now,
if you take too long, he's not going to make it. And if you have the surgery, he might not make it. And I'm just looking at this man. Okay. Because what he's not going to do is pressure me into anything. I'm going to talk to God.
Right.
And
now, did you ever lose consciousness, Papa J? During that?
I think so.
Yeah.
Like I told her, I never felt like she left. It seemed like every time I woke up, she was right there.
Right. And when you were
feeling you feel for your loved one because you feel like they're all alone and everything. And he said, I was just taking a nap.
I was getting sweet peace.
So when you were unconscious, could you hear? Could you still hear?
Do you remember if you could hear?
No.
But
so did you ever hear the doctors talking to Nay about what needed to be done and your condition? Did you ever hear that?
No, I didn't.
Because I wouldn't let them talk in there.
Okay. Okay.
Because I do know that you can hear. You might not remember, but you can hear. And I didn't want anybody in there speaking negativity. Right. I had music playing. I had scriptures playing. No, it just wasn't. No.
I'm going to show you a picture, Nay, and I want you to tell me what was going through your mind.
Okay.
In this picture.
What did I say? I you know what? I was just like, you see my baby? Y'all see him? Because the oxygen tube was out of his nose. And I was sitting there, and I think we were watching a church or something on TV. But I took a picture, like, he's still here. Y'all see him? I was still
here. Yeah.
I was the one that could see him. The kids couldn't come. And so everything I did, I wanted them to see everything that I could see.
So by day 5, what was happening?
Day 5. So that day 4 is when he started coming in and talking bad. Day 5 is when they said they're going to have to do it, that he's not responding to anything. And they need to put in also a feeding tube. Just a lot of stuff. And so I can remember I went up there and they kept trying to put this feeding tube. It could not go in. It could not go in. And so they said, okay, then we're going to have to take him down to this X-ray room. I guess they'll put you on some slab where they can see where it's going. So that's what they were going to try to do. But first, we got to get the brain to stop swelling.
Right.
And so when he told me that, I went to the bathroom and I prayed, because that's the only place I could close the door and pray to God, because I had nobody to consult. Talk to my husband. He couldn't help me with no decisions.
Right.
And ask the children. Nobody could be up there with me. So I had to go straight. So I would go to that bathroom and I would come out with an answer. And so God told me, there's time. He said, I got it. There's time. So when I walked out and I waited for the Dr. Hammer, the female one, and she came out, and she saw that he would talk to me. And she said, oh no, he got room. There's time.
Confirmation.
And I said, and I heard God say, tell Facebook to pray. And that's when I got on and I petitioned everybody to pray. And you're thinking, why was she doing this? Because God was telling me to.
And I think that's why it's so important to have a intentional, consistent prayer life, so you can hear from God.
Absolutely.
When you really need to hear from God.
Right.
Otherwise, you got all this noise around you. And just like you said, you didn't have anybody to consult with. You couldn't consult with your husband. Your children couldn't come up there with you. Nobody from the church could come up there with you. It was just you and God, and you knowing what God was saying to you.
Yeah.
And so you followed the voice of God, and you said, he has time. We're going to wait. And then the nurse turned around and confirmed what God had told you. Yeah.
She confirmed, and then also God made a way for Bishop Forrest to come up and be with me. Nobody else could come. Bishop Forrest came and was able to come in and pray and encourage me, because he'd been there when his son was in the hospital. And every time there was a hard time, I would look up and he was there. And I just was like, God, I thank you that somebody came, but that was after God gave me the answer. And then I get to say, so you'll know it's me. It is not somebody else.
Right.
Telling you, and so then at that day was day 5, everything literally switched.
Turned around.
It did.
Yeah.
It shifted,
So
brain stopped swelling.
So you didn't have to do the cranial surgery.
Did not have to get the feeding tube either. After 4 tries, it would not go down. It was horrific. It was horrific for him and for me.
Yeah, I bet.
Yeah, it was. And so I can remember that they said, well, he has to be able to eat. If he doesn't, we're going to have to do this feeding tube. And every time speech came in, he was exhausted or whatever, because they just been picking and prodding on him all day doing this stuff. His brain is swollen. It's going down. It's just exhausting. And so they said she was coming. And I sat there and I said, baby, she's coming. I said, she's coming. Because all he would tell me is, I want some water. Every time I want some water. I said, baby, but you got to wake up. He said, coming here and they want everything.
Right.
And they won't give me what I want. And I just want some water.
I have a question. Papa J, did they have you on any kind of pain medicine? Were you in pain at all? No? Okay.
At that time, I was doing physical therapy.
Not yet, baby. Not yet. You're still in ICU right now.
ICU?
Yeah. And that was a shocking thing. He wasn't in pain. After the brain stopped swelling and it went down. Yeah.
So this particular picture, was this still ICU?
Yes.
Yeah.
All those are ICU. Yeah.
Okay.
That's when he's still going through. His eyes were kind of closing.
So Papa J, were you just like, okay, I'm just gonna go to sleep for a little bit? Is that what you felt like? Yeah. You just wanted to go to sleep. Yeah. Wow.
Picture right there. I didn't see that till later on. So I told Nay, I said, that's why people was coming and praying so hard for me. Because I looked like that. I thought I was okay.
Right. Yeah. So the recovery comes.
They come in.
The recovery was miraculous too. The fact that he made it through surgery was a miracle. But then here you go.
He was in ICU.
Yeah.
1 week.
1 week.
1 week in intensive care. And that day, they told us, it was on a Sunday, and I got the iPad up, and I put us on Sunday school on the Zoom, and everybody said, and I said, and they said, Papa J, everybody was crying and everything, just to see him. 1 week, he left ICU and went down to the stroke ward. 1 week.
1 week.
Stroke ward, and I got him out of there to go into rehab.
So this picture here.
That's when he started. Yes, he was still, that's the first therapy he had in ICU. Yes.
Mhm. Now, what was his overall condition in this picture? Was he able to talk?
He was able to talk. It was
Yeah.
still a little slurred.
Mhm.
He could not walk. He could not move anything on his left. He couldn't sit up.
Mhm.
Um, so you had to hold him or use the chair to move him
Mhm.
around and things. But yeah, nothing. It was just like a droop. Nothing on that side moved or lifted at all.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay. But he was in rehab,
in rehab.
learning to walk and move and all of that again.
Then
Okay. So, Papa J, when you made it to rehab and they let you know that you were going to have to learn how to walk on your own and all of that again, I wonder, did you feel a sense of responsibility to your family to do
Yes.
whatever it took to
I
get
agree.
well? Yeah, yeah, yeah.
and
Is that? Mhm.
he said he kept saying, if you just give me a shoe, I'm gonna walk.
Yeah.
Never realized
Mhm.
because it hadn't been that long. I can get up and walk. And I said, babe, you're gonna have to really exercise your leg.
Mhm.
And he just kept saying, I can walk. And so I see there's another picture where it's two men helping him.
Mhm.
That was the
Mhm.
first steps that he ever made.
Mhm.
And that was it. No, not that one. That's physical therapy too.
Mhm. Okay.
There's some that where he was trying to walk.
I think I
And
have that. Mhm.
um that's when he's getting much better. That's outpatient therapy.
Right.
When times we
Okay.
get real good. Yeah. Yeah.
I was going through these pictures and I was just like, it's just nothing but the grace of God.
It's God.
Mm-hmm.
It is
Yeah,
God.
yeah.
Every time we go,
And some people might
oh,
some people might wonder, um, why do some people survive their stroke and others don't? And I get that question all the time with my own sister who passed away from a stroke. And I just think that sometimes the body is just so damaged that it can't come back. And some people just don't survive. I don't think it's rocket science. I
no,
think it's just sometimes your body and your brain is just so badly damaged that you cannot recover. And then there are other times when the intervention of the medical team is such that it allows you to recover. And the grace of God
and the grace
allows you to recover. We can't ever leave that part out.
cannot.
It's not a thing where God loves this person and not the other. And I hear that and it just makes me cringe because these earthly bodies are fallible.
They are absolutely. They absolutely are. And the thing,
Yeah, and so sometimes they can't hold up.
no, they still
Yeah.
have yet
Mhm.
know where the blood clot came from. You want
Mhm.
to talk about somebody that God considered? God
Mhm.
considered him able to
Mhm.
handle it because the magnitude of his stroke and that blood clot would
Mhm.
have came from something like a heart or
Mhm.
they said your heart, your stomach, your something big. They
Mhm.
checked every place that it would have came from. No signs of it being there, no signs that it left there. They checked every place and they cannot figure out
Mhm.
where the blood clot came from. So they call it cryptogenic.
Mm.
They have no answers,
Mhm.
no results. They cannot, there's no resolve. It's
Mhm.
cryptogenic
Mhm.
and they have
They,
no understanding of
they
where
couldn't, Papa J, they couldn't trace the origin of the
Not
clot. Wow.
nowhere. And that's when he said that when we were in the doctor's office, and I
Mhm.
giggled myself and I
Mhm.
said, yeah, you keep showing them this ain't them, this is you. I
Yeah.
said, only God can do that. I'm gonna do
Mhm.
this.
Mhm.
And you're not gonna be able to find out where it came from because I'm doing this. So
Mhm.
I can get the glory out of his life.
Yeah. Wow. What a testimony. What a testimony. And the fact that you are still here and you're able to share this story with so many people, I'm in awe of God, but I'm also in awe of you, Papa J, because I know what kind of man you are. And I can just imagine you saying in your mind, I'm a protector and a provider. I must get up from here. Yeah, I can hear you saying that. Yeah.
Determination.
Yes.
Every time we go in, he exceeds whatever they're trying to get him to, whatever goal he sets. He always exceeds it. And they, to the point where we were going to go on vacation. And she said, okay, well, let me get you ready to walk on unlevel ground so you can get ready for the sand. And they did it. And we got the light, and he's walking in the sand. And I videotaped it for all of his physical therapists to know that he made it. It was just really, yeah.
I remember, Nay, when we were talking in the pre-interview, and I was asking you how did they handle everything that was happening with their father? And you said that they all took it hard, but your oldest son, it affected him the most. Why do you think that is?
Why do you think it is?
Yeah.
I think for the oldest, all of my kids they look at me as Superman. I've been doing all kind of. I used to go to work to work out again, work out, and then work out with the people who needed to work out.
Right.
All the time.
Right.
So why, Dre?
So I think because my oldest always looked at me like a man of steel.
Yeah.
He can't be hindered.
Right. Yes. It took him a while.
He internalized.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
He internalizes. They all were hurt. They all been adjusted.
Yeah. I can imagine. I mean, this is Dad. This is Daddy. This is the two of you. That's all they know. Yeah. Yeah. The two of you together. That's all they know.
Yeah.
And then for COVID to separate you guys just added another layer of angst.
Listen,
family.
That COVID in our family was a whole nother thing because while we're in the hospital with him, that's when St. Joseph had the outbreak.
Yeah.
So we got it. All of my children had COVID, even my grandchildren had COVID. And so now my husband's in the hospital. My children, and this is when everybody was dying. It wasn't good news.
Yeah, I remember.
And you're checking your children, you're checking everybody, and we can't tell him.
Right.
That it's such a long story. That whole season, the whole season. Yeah.
So 4 years later, Papa J, how do you feel?
I feel great.
Yeah, you look great.
Thank you.
Yeah. So what would you say to, what do you want to say to someone who has just recently suffered a stroke and they're going through the recovery process? What do you want to say to encourage them?
I would say, first of all, don't compare yourself to anybody else who's going through a stroke, because there's all different levels. And we laugh. I laugh at all the time, because you know me, I have sense of humor. The hospital, we go to eat in rehab. We go to eat. We have one guy, he just get up and walk away. I'm in the chair, and everybody look at him. So I'm like, am I tripping? I'm feeling some kind of way because this guy get up walking. And there was a guy that your wheelchair comes through, and you look at him some kind of way.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I'm feeling some kind of way. The first meeting we had there, they said, and don't compare yourself because everybody's at different levels. Because again, they don't know why it affects some people some way and others different. So don't compare yourself to nobody else. And don't get frustrated with able-bodied people, because sometimes that's all you see. You're like, man, I remember when I could walk. Man, what about this? And that'll hinder you. If you can find a support group, find you a support group. Kind of levels it out. I have a support group I meet with once a month. Strokes
Twice.
Oh, good. That is so good.
twice a
Yeah.
month, and
Yeah.
it's all veterans that have had strokes
Mm-hmm.
before.
Mm-hmm.
What did you realize by watching all of them?
And when you hear everybody else's story, you're like, I don't have it so bad.
Right.
And give you
Yeah.
a chance to encourage them, and they encourage you back and forth.
Mm-hmm. I bet. Now, Mama Nay, before the stroke, you were a professional caregiver. This is what
Yes.
you
Still
had done
is.
21 years.
You got
That's
our
what
best client ever.
Yeah. Yeah. Do
Yeah.
you feel like now that was in some ways the preparation for you?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Mhm.
You never know why you're going through certain things. You never know, if you go to this school, you might have, I was a beautician for so long, and you never know why things change. You never know why, let's do another career field. Let's do this. Caregiving called me
Mhm.
because I started taking care of people. But then when I had to take care of Missionary Brown, and then after
Mhm.
all those years, when she passed, somebody had
Mhm.
heard about me taking care of her,
Mhm.
had me come down to Catholic community. And so I started working
Mhm.
there. And then
Mhm.
I was with Catholic community. I was with DSHS.
Mhm.
Yeah, I just been and I love it.
Mhm.
I love taking care of people. To me,
Mhm.
I used to always work long-term care or hospice care.
Mhm.
And to be with somebody in the middle of their last days is an honor for me to
Yeah.
take care of them and things. And not knowing
Mhm.
all of that will
Mhm.
prepare me
Mhm.
to take care of my husband. But it yet and still,
Mhm.
nothing
Mhm.
compared.
Yeah.
Nothing could have made me prepared enough.
Yeah.
It was your husband.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
It's nothing I won't do, but there's a lot of new things that you learn. Role
Mhm.
reversal and
Mhm.
that
Mhm.
wonderful stuff.
Mhm.
Right, babe? Go ahead.
So, Nay, what would you say to a spouse who now finds themselves
Mhm.
a caregiver to their spouse who's had a stroke? What's some advice that you can give them? And what does self-care look like for you?
Mm-hmm. Self-care.
Mhm.
Self-care
Mhm.
is important. I've
Mhm.
talked to many women that have contacted me or somebody's referred me because their
Mhm.
spouse had a stroke
Mhm.
and they find themselves. Um, you have to do self-care. And I mean, you have to. It's a necessity. You have to take
Mhm.
care of you for you and you so you can take care of them.
Mhm.
If that means a spa day, if that means walking, going to a
Mhm.
park, if that means shopping,
Mhm.
whatever your thing is, it can be therapy. It
Yeah.
also mindful videos and
Mhm.
mindful classes and things
Mhm.
that they have
Mhm.
help you. And it's
Mhm.
not always about yoga and meditation stuff. Sometimes you just need to go to another place,
Right.
your
Right.
mind, if you're
Yeah.
not. And if you're not saved, get
Mhm.
saved.
Mhm.
Read your
Hello.
Bible.
Yeah.
The word of God is quick and powerful. And it can reach that thing
Mhm.
before you even talk about it. It can reach that
Mhm.
thing that's bothering you,
Mhm.
that's hurting you.
Mhm.
Um,
Mhm.
I've grown a lot. My devotions
Mhm.
are important to me.
Yeah.
That's my daily. I get up in the morning, I come in here by myself and I do my devotion. Um,
Mhm.
and then there's times when I just have to take a bath. But when I take a bath, it's a spa. It's candles, it's bath bombs, it's all of
Yeah.
it. You would have thought I paid some money.
Mhm.
But
Mhm.
you've got to find some way to have self-care. Journaling
Yeah.
helps
Yeah.
because sometimes you just need a release. You just
Mhm.
need to get it out.
Mhm.
Whether it's positive, whether it's negative, you need to get it out. Because holding
Mhm.
that, because your whole life has just changed.
Yeah. Mhm.
And nobody can prepare you for it.
Mhm. Yeah, I was going to say your life changes in a way that you could never have anticipated.
Never.
Yeah.
Never.
How
And
important was the support from your church family?
they carried me through. My church family and my
Yeah.
family carried me through. I
Mhm.
told my kids at my last birthday, they were my rock.
Mhm.
You know, even when they tell you, Mom, you need a break. Let us take care of Dad. Let us do this. You need, and they're worried about me.
Yeah.
You know, in the church family, when I say they checked on us,
Mhm.
but it was just really difficult because it was COVID.
Right.
But I've had people bring groceries, set them at the door, bring food, set it at the door, send me spa packages, send
Mhm.
me to get a massage. My church family and my family were
Mhm.
amazing. I love you, True Vine. I love, and
Yeah.
then Washington's jurisdiction,
Mhm.
not
Yeah.
just my church, my
Yeah.
district, and my state. Everybody,
Mhm.
it was
The
really
body of
something.
Christ.
It was the
Everybody.
body of Christ. Because then when the people were calling me and thanking me,
Mhm.
them to pray because they
Mhm.
just had a reason to pray.
Mhm.
And I was like, but that was God,
Yeah.
you know. Yeah,
Wow.
yeah.
So before we get to the comments in the chat, because we have quite a few, we even have a testimony in the chat.
I don't know if you can
Uh-oh.
see me, but you kind of froze for a minute.
Oh, there you are. Okay. I thought I lost you.
We're here.
I want to do something that I do at the end of the show, and it's called my first thought. So I'm going to say a word or a phrase. And Papa J, I want you to tell me your first thought when you hear this word or this phrase, okay?
You ready?
Yep.
All right. Considered.
Me.
Yeah. Just like Job.
Uh-huh.
Mhm. Yep. Covenant.
Relationship. Promise.
Yeah. Ooh, promise. Ooh, I felt that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, promise. Um, unwavering faith.
Us.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm. Mhm. Yeah.
We didn't hear you.
DeAndre.
Oh.
DeAndre.
DeAndre. Strong.
Yeah.
Gentle giant.
Yeah. Davion.
Become more and more anointed every day.
Ooh. Natisha.
Should be a missionary.
That's his baby.
It's my baby.
Yes.
She's
TT.
strong.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nazmye.
My rock. Holding me together with duct tape and paper glue, whatever it takes. Holding me together.
Yeah. I think that your love story is just, it's the epitome of in sickness and in health. When I think of that term, when I hear that term, I think of the two of you.
Mm-hmm.
And what's so sweet about it is that the foundation of your marriage was built on your friendship.
Mm-hmm. Right.
So when the tragedy came, you were not only looking at your husband, you were looking at your friend from 7th grade.
Right.
And there was nobody there with him but you. You were the only one that could be there. And
Right.
you helped him walk through this. Because, like you said, you couldn't consult him. The roles reversed.
Mm-hmm.
And you had to be the one making the decisions.
Mm-hmm.
And you were able to walk him through that to the point where, and I'm speaking for you, Papa J, but I think I can say this, to the point where your faith strengthened his faith.
Mm.
I really believe that. And that's what marriage is. It's a partnership. It's a daily I do.
It's a daily I do.
It's daily. You don't know what's coming.
What we say, love, LOV, living our vows every day.
Every day. Every day. Wow.
And it's very important for those that are
Mhm.
looking for a mate, looking for a
Yeah.
spouse.
Yeah.
And you're getting married.
Yeah.
You gotta love them.
Mm-hmm.
You've got to mean it.
Yeah.
There's not just things get rough and I'm out.
Mm-hmm.
You gotta, because your life can change in a moment.
Yeah.
What are you gonna do?
And that's the culture, you know, for the most part. Well, if it don't work, we'll just get a divorce. There's no longevity thought there. It's just up. If it don't work, we'll
And
get a divorce.
sometimes, I mean, I understand it.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes you have to, but everybody don't have to.
Right. And going in with that mindset is probably not. Maybe you need to rethink what you're about to do.
Right.
If you already got an escape clause before you even say I do.
Right.
Is this really the person that you want to spend your life with?
It's rough. People understand it's give and take. It's rough. It's 50-50. But it's also like my husband always says, you have two different people trying to get to be one person. Work out things together and things. And my side and your side could be totally different. My upbringing, your upbringing, totally different. But yeah, we got it. What you laughing? What?
You grew up eating
what?
What's these things called? Scallops. Sauce. And Dad used to give me all the time.
Oh my gosh.
Oh my gosh. I was about to say, Nay, I seen you over there dropping tears. I was about to say, you're not gonna make me cry on my show.
I've been doing good. I was doing real good.
I want to go into the chat because I want you to see the comments that people are leaving for you. This is so beautiful. I love, 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 love. Stacy Chavez. That couple is awesome.
Love
And
you.
they are, absolutely. Yolanda Smith, all she could say was, my God. When you hear the testimony, that's really all you can say. It's like, but for the grace of God.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Missionary Melanie Brown is in the chat.
I'm a witness. Yeah, you are.
Yes, she is.
Yes. Yes. My friend Calvin Michael, social media influencer, he is in the chat and he wanted to share a testimony, a story about his own father. He said, this reminds me of when they said my father had 6 weeks to live and I should come home. I purposely didn't pack a suit because I told myself there wasn't going to be a funeral on that trip.
That's right.
And then he says he lived another 7 months. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about when I talk about that faith that says, I'm going to trust God no matter what. I don't care what it looks like.
No matter what.
I trust
all you
God.
have. That's all you have. Faith without works is dead.
Yeah.
He's got to have faith. So the work is you believing. I'm going to walk out. Okay, my actions is my work. I'm not taking a suit because we're not.
Yeah.
And that's what happens.
Then he said, then while in the ICU, they told us to make arrangements because he wasn't going to make it through the night. My mom and I said, we'll see him in the morning. And by morning, he was wide awake and eating. Yes. I love that. I love it. I love it. Laminda Lawyer says, walking miracle. Now that is sure enough truth.
It's a sure enough
miracle. Yes. That's right, Stacey. Their love story is amazing. I hope y'all are working on a book. I really do.
Start.
We need a book from Johnson & Johnson.
Right. Yeah.
Yes. We need a book. We need to put this on. This needs to be on paper.
this, and it will, because it's about the fourth confirmation we need.
Right? Right? Now, Papa J, you just recently retired from youth pastoring after 20 years of service. How does that
Yes,
feel?
feels awesome
Yeah.
Doesn't
to have been able to do that.
Mm-hmm.
it?
20 years.
But the good thing about it is,
Mm-hmm.
son is the youth pastor. I just get to be his advisor.
At True
There
Vine,
you
yes.
go.
Yeah.
You get to train your protege. And he's been watching you all these years. So,
The oldest one too.
yeah.
Pastor his church.
So it was an
Wow.
honor for him to be there for all of that.
Yeah.
They follow close, and that's when you really understand that they do.
Yeah. Yeah. They watch us, everything we do. We are their first example in all things.
Everything.
We are the first example our children see.
Absolutely. We are.
So if you can give them Jesus
Come on. That's the
and
best.
give them yes, that's the best example you could ever give them.
Best gift.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I thank you both. Thank you for being here tonight.
Thank you.
Yeah, this was really, really great. And I'm so glad that our connection was better than it was, the show that I had before yours. The connection wasn't so great, even though it was on my end. On my guest's end, everybody could hear her very clearly, and I was so glad because she was phenomenal. The one
Awesome.
and only Sabrina Jackson Gandy. But I'm glad tonight we have a great connection. Everybody could hear everybody. The chat looks wonderful. Thank y'all for putting your comments and your encouraging words in the chat for Mama Nay and
Thank
Papa J.
You.
Yes. So what's next?
Right on this.
Absolutely, absolutely. What's next for the Johnsons? What's next?
What's next?
Only the Lord knows.
Yeah.
That's the truth.
We're just willing servants.
Yeah.
That's right.
Amen.
Whatever you want us to do, whatever you want us to say. Yes, Lord.
Yeah.
Amen. Well, my prayer is that God will open more doors for you to share your story because people need to hear it. I'm so glad to hear that you're in a support group because that's important. Unless you've had a stroke, you don't even know what recovery feels like or looks like and what the aftermath of your mental feels like. If you've never had a stroke, you just don't know. So for you to be in a support group with other stroke survivors is excellent. I'm really, really thankful that you have that group.
Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, thanks, y'all.
Thank you, sis. This was an honor.
I'll probably won't see you. Yes, I'll see you at Convocation.
Okay. Missionary.
Yes.
Thank you, everybody. Love you.
Love everybody.
Love you.
All right.
Whoo! All right. Thank you guys so much for interacting in the chat. That's what I wanted to see. Thank you for sharing your stories, Calvin. Thank you. That's awesome. Yes. Thank you so much. Thank you, all of you watching tonight. This was really special. Tonight's show was really special. Like I said, Mama Nay and Papa J are really good friends of mine. We've been friends for a long time. And I remember when Nay went on Facebook and was asking people to pray for Papa J. And I remember some of her women friends and family were sending her video encouragement. We videotaped ourselves, just giving a really quick, short, encouraging message for her. And I remember her saying how that helped bring her through, helped carry her through from the day that Papa J had the stroke until he left the hospital and was able to come home. So you just never know how you can be a blessing to someone's life just by doing something simple, like recording a video, just encouraging them and praying for them and making sure that they know you love them and that your heart is with them. Because at that time, people couldn't go into the hospital. So she was there by herself. But God brought her through. God brought Papa J through, and we are thankful. If you need more information about the signs, the symptoms, and the prevention of stroke, please visit stroke.org. Everything you could possibly need education wise about stroke is at stroke.org. Make sure that you educate yourself and your family so they know what the signs and the symptoms look like, and they know what to do when they see those signs. Your next big family gathering, go over the acronym FAST. Make sure you do what you need to do to educate your family. Thank you so much for being with me. I will be back on June 10th with Girl Talk After Dark. My special guest is, I ain't gonna tell you. You'll have to watch my Facebook wall and you'll see who it is. She is a financial coach, and she's going to be talking about how we as women need to be proactive about making sure that our finances are together. And she's going to help us make the correlation between unhealed childhood trauma and our financial situation. And trust me, there is a correlation. So she's going to talk about that. So watch my Facebook wall. I'm going to be posting a flyer very soon, so you know who my guest is going to be on June 10th at 6 p.m. live on Facebook and YouTube. Thank you so much for joining me tonight. I love y'all. I really, really do. Have a wonderful night. I'll see you next time on Girl Talk After Dark. Good night.